Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Smoke season. Errol Spence Jr. wants the Terence Crawford smoke. Errol Spence Jr. comes out and states, I told Al Heyman I want Terence Crawford after Manny Pacquiao, or else I'm moving up to 154. This is his exact statement, and he states, I most likely have 2 more fights at 147. I'm going across the street to talk to Top Rank to see what they talking about. If they not talking about nothing, I'm moving up to 154. After the Pac-Man fight, hopefully we can make something happen with Terence Bud Crawford. You see, Errol Spence Jr. wants all the smoke with Terence Crawford. He wants to collect belts, and he has Terence Crawford's belt on his mind. This is what a lot of people have been asking for, what a lot of people want, what a lot of people have been talking about. Errol Spence Jr. also went on to say, once I get that belt from Manny Pacquiao, like I told Al Heyman, I want this fight with Terence Crawford, but if it doesn't happen, then I'll move to 154. I'm not going to waste my time trying to fight somebody who says they don't have any interest in fighting me anymore. He doesn't want to fight me anymore. And that's a true statement. You've seen Terence Crawford multiple times in the past state that he is not interested in the Errol Spence smoke anymore. But, I have to believe Errol Spence truly wants this fight. Simply, if you look at his resume, he has the best resume in the division right now as far as the current active welterweights. Obviously, you can't factor Manny Pacquiao into that equation. I mean, the guy's a unified champion. He's going after yet another belt. So I can respect that from Errol Spence Jr. And at the end of the day, his resume speaks volume about the fact that he wants to fight the best. I mean, at the end of the day, Terence Crawford's resume is ass juice. So if Errol Spence Jr. is out here fighting the better guys, the elite opponents in the division, and Terence Crawford's resume is ass juice, how is anyone even doubting what he's saying? I mean, look at it like this. Errol Spence has been repeating this since 2018. I want to be an undisputed champion at 147. He has to take Terence Crawford's belt if he wants to be undisputed at 147, and that's what he's talking about. That's what he's looking to do. Why would he mention his name if he didn't want to smoke? It doesn't make sense. Clearly he wants to fight Terence Crawford. Clearly he wants that smoke. And I also believe Errol Spence Jr. has been consistently saying the same thing for years. He wants to be undisputed at 147 since 2018. If he gets past Manny Pacquiao, this fight makes perfect sense to have him fight Terence Bud Crawford next. This is in alignment with everything he has continually said. So if the Spence Crawford fight doesn't happen, it's not about Errol Spence. It's on Terence Crawford. And this is what I mean. This is the same Terence Crawford who said if the fight isn't 60-40 in my favor, it won't happen. When we all know that Terence Bud Crawford is the B-side to Errol Spence Jr. Whether he wants to believe it or not, his own promoter doesn't believe in him. His own promoter won't even put him on pay-per-view because he believes he will lose him money. Even Terence Crawford said out of his own mouth, hey, I've never had a big pay-per-view breakthrough type of fight. So how are you the A-side to Errol Spence? It doesn't make sense. Only fanboys would repeat those lies. So the fact that Terence Crawford is delusional about his share or percentage or his split with Errol Spence and he can't accept the B-side shows you if the fight doesn't happen, it's on Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is also saying that, hey, Errol Spence fight will never happen. This is the guy saying the fight will never happen. He's the guy who shut down any idea of the fight happening. So he's the one constantly being negative about this fight happening. He's bitter. He's upset that the fight did not happen on his timetable the way he wanted it to. But he is not the A side, and he has to accept that. I mean, not only that, you also got to look at the other facts involving this. I mean, if you look at what Bob Arum has said consistently, Bob Arum has come out and stated that, hey, I could have easily made the Sean Porter fight, but I don't believe that, it's going to sell. I believe I'm going to lose money, so I'm not making the fight. So Terence Crawford not fighting Sean Porter, a top welterweight, would be the best name on his resume. Why? Because Bob Arum does not believe the fight will sell, so he's not going to make the fight. You've even seen Bob Arum, on the Manny Pacquiao fight. Terence Crawford's own promoter. Oh, we tried to make the fight. We couldn't make it. The money wasn't there. Doesn't believe it can sell. So he doesn't believe any fight that his fighter, Terence Crawford, is involved in can sell. So what the hell makes you think that this is the guy that's not holding up the fight? He's clearly holding up the Terence Crawford Errol Spence fight. He's clearly the reason why that fight's not happening, because he is not willing to put in and pay for the fight. You know, at the end of the day, Errol Spence is the A-side in any fight. And if you're one of those fanboys that believes that, you know, hey, Terence Crawford, everyone else is the problem and not Terence Crawford, ask yourself this question. Why hasn't Terence Crawford fought one elite opponent his entire career with Bob Arum? Just one. Why has he not fought one his entire career? It's on Bob Arum. Why did Terence Crawford turn down a Sean Porter fight without even negotiating in 2020? It's on Bob Arum. Why did Terence Crawford say Bob Arum is holding up the Errol Spence fight on the Joe Rogan podcast? Once again, it's Bob Arum. Why did Bud Crawford say that Errol Spence is not ducking him? And if you're still in denial after all these facts, you are a fanboy. Because men lie, women lie, but the facts don't lie.